eyes on my display. You say we need a change, and I feel that you mean it. You mean it. But you're so right, we're losing track of time, buying things online, and it's not like we need them. We don't need them. So can we just slow down? The only thing I'll do is lay here next to you. We need to slow down. Embrace the love we found. For you and I are safe and sound. And we just slow down. For you and I are safe and we were on the run, rocking around the clock. Now all we need is right here in front of us. In front of us. So can we just slow change, remembering all of those nights beneath the window frame. Don't know why we keep going running around in the same place. Can't decide to live my life on the ground or in outer space.
as days passes by, and most long for a place that they never find. I'm afraid I wake up when I die, and it is too late to climb any mountain. Time is of the essence, the blood running through our core. It's best to not feel sorry when it's over. I will be the greatest that you've ever seen before, and I'll stay eternal. Sometimes I feel that my luck's run out. When things don't go to plan, I kinda lose my mind. I hope it's real, this life comes around. Just keep your faith and search for the fountain. Time is of the essence, the blood running through our core. It's best to not feel sorry when it's over. I will be the greatest that you've ever seen before, and I'll stay eternal.
Every time we say goodbye, they all see that it's a lie. 'Cause we always give it one last try. Yeah, you've watched me break 1,000 times. Now I'm all alone, 'cause you never show. You say you will, but then you don't. That's how it goes. Don't wanna know. I'm turning off my mind so I get by. I just wanna be happy, happy tonight. Happier tonight. Happier tonight. Can't be waiting for you in the morning. I'ma leave without giving a warning. I'ma leave without giving a. But every time we say goodbye, we all know that it's a lie. Now I'm all alone, 'cause you never show. You say you will, but then you don't. That's how it goes. Don't wanna know. I'm turning off my mind so I get by. I just wanna be happy, happy tonight.
Voices going through my head. These voices telling me what I said about you, about us and what we do. I will get your heart somewhere. Voices going through my head. These voices telling me what I said about you, about us and what we do. I'm shit too. Let's watch some techniques. I will free myself from all you, yeah.
I know I'll live It's a lover's fight without an alibi. Took my hands without an alibi. Smoking gun, you got me on the wrong beat. All that will come, we're out up till dawn. But how can I hide it without an alibi? It's a lover's fight without an alibi. Took my innocence. I can't wait no longer. I'm playing with the monsters. Everything that brought me alive. Oh, we're all like monsters, playing with the monsters. They brought me alive, but I know I'll live It's a lover's fight without an alibi. Took my hands without an alibi.
Welcome to tonight's coverage of the Titan Esports Divinity League. I am What Super Pretty, and joining me on the other side, well, you can't see her, it's Sharpie. How you doing tonight? Not Sharpie. Sorry. Sharpie was supposed to be here, couldn't make it tonight. Showing us on the other side is our producer as well as our colorcaster tonight, Loki Bear. How you doing tonight? I'm doing pretty great, excited to be back here in the Titan Esports Divinity League. Tonight we got a pretty good matchup between Syntinels and DZG Elysium. DZG, unfortunately, having a bit of a struggle bus season currently, finding themselves winless on record. 0-10 is not the best spot to be in, but Syntinels, 3-2 in their record and are fighting for playoff contention, so we're looking at a potential upset here if DZG can manage to take a game or even take a series tonight. We got a lot of potential options here tonight. We're already running through the pick and ban. Lilia, Belveth, and Pantheon all taken away by the Syntinels, and DZG focusing a little bit more on that bottom lane, taking away the Seraphine Senna, that really strong 2v2 lane combination, as well as that Echo. And Syntinels, seeing one of the best picks on the patch up, are going to take away the Karma. Not too shocking to see that one grabbed away. DZG on the other side, looking at Jinx, Tom Kench, just trying to pick away that bottom lane pretty early on into the rotation. Not too shocking to see them grab that one up, just because Jinx has been fairly strong recently, although has not been seeing a ton of play recently, and Nautilus has just been inarguably one of the best supports on the patch overall. So seeing them grab that one up just to try and get a strong 2 versus 2 early on, if force that Karma maybe to be pushed into a role that is not in that support. Not too shocking to see them grab that one. And Syntinels are going to respond with Maokai and Aphelios. So Maokai still holding on to that flexibility with the Karma, potentially one of them support, the other one mid or jungle, and the Aphelios as well, just for a safe scaling lane AD carry. Yeah, Jinx is one of those champions that really can perform super well as a hyper carry, can just rocket into a lead if you give her the resources, but sometimes it's not always viable to give her those resources. You have things like a carry jungler, a more strong-sided top lane. You just want an AD carry who's going to sit back, farm up, look to pick up resources later into the game, and Jinx is really that champion that you have to say, hey, we're going to give everything to the bottom side of this map. We're going to throw everything we can at this Jinx, and we're going to give her as much resources as possible, and if she carries, great. If she doesn't, well, you know, better luck next time. Second phase of bans going through. We've got Briar and Smolder taken away by Syntinels, and DZG continuing to focus down that jungle pool with the Brand and the Nocturne. So it seems like their read is that the Maokai is most likely going to be in support, where the where the Karma is probably also going to be in the mid lane. DZG gonna lock in what's most likely their own jungler with the Volibear, try and save that counter pick for top lane. Curious to see where that one's going to go. Yeah, Volibear has been really strong in the most recent patches. It uses the items really well, similar to how Maokai support does, where you just pick up Trailblazer, pick up Iceborne Gauntlet, and it's really difficult to get away from him. And it's also really simple to get ganks off because you run in a straight line, and sometimes you just can't get away from the bear. It just is sort of the thing that runs you over. Meanwhile, Syntinels on the other side are going to take away the Zinzao and the Mundo. So the Mundo is their blind pick for the top lane, and DZG responding with the Shen. Not a champion that we've actually been seeing a lot of recently, so I'm wondering if this is a DZG particular pocket pick, or maybe just something that they have prepared tonight to counter the Mundo, as Shen does have that percentage health magic damage, pretty good at shredding through tanks in the early game, a little bit better of a duelist than sometimes you expect him to be. But the Mundo can scale up pretty decently to get very beefy. With just Aurelion Soul Jinx for that real damage to tanks, I'm concerned a little bit for this draft, just off the cuff. Yeah, execution truly is the name of the game, and especially with comps like this where you have things like the Aphelios, the Jinx, and the bottom lane, these safe but scaling hyper carries in the early and mid game where you just want them to get as much farm as possible, as much experience as possible, get themselves ahead. You're not really going to be taking too many particular 2v2s throughout the course of the game, but maybe Nautilus can get on the map, try and roam towards that top side, see if they can't get the Aurelion Soul ahead, move with Volibear, get some of those grubs, try and play that early game action a little bit more. Because if Syntinels get ahead, if their Aphelios is allowed to scale, if the Maokai can move across the map better than the Nautilus can, if Zinzao gets ahead, it's going to be a really difficult game for them to win.
And we just have a few minutes left on the spectator delay. Do we want to talk about our sponsor?
Yeah, we can talk about tonight's sponsor. One of the sponsors for tonight for Titan Esports is Pro Comps. I want to give them a quick shout out, which is our sponsor tonight and a game changer app for the League of Legends community. This isn't just like other tools, it's your personal draft coach, perfect for both teams and solo players. In fact, you can pair it with any other app that you use particularly in the Overwolf application. ProComp stands out with features like custom champion pools, personalized tier lists, and extra draft advice. You can think of it like having a virtual coach and a strategy toolkit all wrapped up into one. They also offer things like real-time champion and ban recommendations. There have already been well over 200,000 downloads and thousands of daily users like you. ProComps is user-friendly and is totally free. It's a no-brainer, at least, to give it a go. You can download ProComps now and you'll experience a whole new level of drafting power in your League of Legends games. You can go to procomps.gg to download it from Overwolf, or click the link in the description below.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And definitely teams should take advantage of ProComps. Just a few seconds left until we get into game, and by a few seconds I mean like 40, but we're good. So we're gonna have to see how long I'm stuck on this Acel mid lane. I've been seeing it played so much, and now that the everyone can hear me, now that I've been talking to myself apparently for this entire time, how long it's gonna take the Acel to get online. I mean, this comp is set up, but I was kind of sad to see Smolder banned, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
The Tiny Dragon's not through.
It's so fun to watch in pro play because it's just it's like the old Cassidin or Kale memes where it's just like in chat you're like, hey, wait, how long until level 16? Take kick, come on, yes. But with Smolder, instead of level 16, it's just how soon can you get to 225 stacks? And
absolutely.
I think there's almost like a couple stages of Smolder throughout the game. Like before he gets 25 stacks, really, really slow. Getting to that first 25 is a slog, but then from 25 to 125, it gets a little bit faster because the Q gets that AoE damage on it, which helps your hard a little bit quicker. You do a bit more damage. You have like an item in inventory, you get a little bit more poke off. But then as soon as you get past 125,
it's
you just accelerate
sailing
so quickly.
All right, we are about to get into game here. I'm just going to get objective timer set up. Because
unfortunately we won't be seeing Smolder tonight.
Yeah.
But we can keep an eye on those Aurelion Soul stacks and see how long it takes him to get online. Because like you said, again, scaling Dragon in the mid lane, a lot of the DZG composition is really scaling and trying to be sort of passive and wait for the mid to late game to get powerful. We're going to have to see how that works out for them as we load onto the Rift for game 1 of Syntinels versus DZG.
And it looks like we have some early level shenanigans. They're my favorite.
Level 1 domination is going to spot out the invade. The Nautilus hook doesn't go wide open. Flashes forward to get that slow onto him with the Glacial Augment. The Volibear Lightning comes down. The Ignite's ticking. That's first blood. DZG. Dalto finds the last hit.
Oh, wow. That was not expected. Great start.
Yeah, that's one of those things. You gotta just respect the level 1 Nautilus. You can't be sitting in a bush like that, especially if you're not willing to use that cleanser flash to get away. But I do really like instant flash from Malone. As soon as the hook missed, he said, okay, we're making this kill happen. slams the hook down, makes it happen.
I mean, that's early gold in the pockets of Aurelion Soul, which is not bad.
Yeah, getting that tier early, coming into lane, making sure that you start stacking up that Seraphs as soon as possible. Really like to see that. But on the other side of the map, we do see Nightmare rotating in to get onto that red buff. So with the invade happening on the bottom side of the map, Syntinels know that the Volibear is starting down there, so they're going to have Zinzao up on the top side. And it seems like we'll have a pretty split map going across here.
Right. I honestly think it's just going to be a slow start, especially for the bot lane, because they have two scaling late game AD carries.
Yeah, I don't think we're expecting to see too much action throughout the bottom lane. And I think that actually works out really in favor of DZG, especially with the split map that we have here, as it actually looks like Nightmare doesn't want to go and farm his topside camps. He might just be looking to cause a brawl with Volibear here. Oh, he's on a ward. Sneaky Hippo is actually in trouble here. Does have the flash. He's going to be able to get away if he needs to. Just hang on to the wall. Maybe looking to try and cause a fight, but understands that he's just dead here. Going to save that flash, and Nightmare will pick up that kill. A good punish on the invade there.
Yeah, that was, I mean, it's kind of brave to venture into the enemy jungle when there is potential vision down.
Yeah, especially without the sweeper of his own, he couldn't tell that there wasn't going to be any vision there. Alto getting a little aggressive onto OTF in the mid lane, but it's a really early game. We're not expecting too much damage. But it's a pretty big loss for Sneaky Hippo there. It's a lot slower on the jungle clear time. You're not going to have either of your buffs, neither the red nor the blue. And now you're just sort of having to pick up the scraps and figure out where exactly you can get a gank down here. And speaking of ganks, we see Nightmare trying to lock down the bottom lane, but over a ward, the bottom lane of DZG shouldn't be in too much trouble.
Yeah, I was gonna check the Elysium Soul stats, but I don't think we're quite there yet.
Do you see Nightmare rotating over to the top side? Just gonna go pick up that Scuttle Crab up there, trying to deny more golden experience from Sneaky Hippo there. As the Flash is forced out mid lane, Dalto playing it safe there, does not want to give any early kills over to the Karma, and I gotta say I respect that. That champion is crazy good right now. Hang on, there's a brawl here in the jungle. Nightmare looking to trade on to Sneaky Hippo, but Lyvern is first to rotate, and so is OTF, so it looks like both these junglers trying to back off to their support means that they won't continue the fight any longer.
Yeah. I mean, I wish that we could see the timer for Void Grubs. Ryan needs to change this.
I think they're spawning in just about 50 seconds. The timer on the bottom right there shows the Rift Herald, but it's a little too early for Herald to show up, so I'm gonna assume that Grub's timer. But the first dragon is also going to be spawning in just about that amount of time. So potentially there's an option for a trade here if DZG thinks that Nightmare is going to opt for these early grubs, because he did opt for the topside Scuttle Crab, which to me at least says, hey, I want to play for this topside objective. I want to look to pick up the early tower pushing, get that true damage, but we'll have to see what he goes for. From now, it's pretty quiet across the map. No real big brawls happening like we expected. It's been a fairly slow early game.
Yeah. I really think they just want to scale up. There's a lot of scaling on both sides.
For now, Sneaky Hippo maybe looking for something on the bottom side of the map, but is going to get spotted out. A nice little roam there by a Dragon Ball. Catch that one out.
Ooh.
Actually, maybe caught out himself. A nice Nautilus hook is going to force the Flash out of the Maokai. Still caught up by the traps, though. The Ignite is ticking down. Dragon Ball actually in trouble. So the Flash forward from Malone. He gets the twisted advance onto the minion. He's going to make it out. Atlas can't find the last auto. Now potentially in trouble. SUP Malone under turret is going to take that last shot. Domination finds him and picks himself up a kill.
Well played. Where are we at with Elysium Soul after these Jack goes away? He's at 23 Stardust.
23 Stardust for 5 minutes, I don't think is actually that quick stack-wise, but Elysium Soul, similar to Smolder, is kind of like the early game. It sucks to pick up stacks because you do it so slowly, you don't have your Q up for as long, but mid and late game, you get more damage, you get that bigger black hole, the larger execute range, and you can really start to steal away some of the stacks. But it looks like DZG actually just going to get the priority onto this early dragon with the 3 grubs going over to Nightmare on the top side earlier in the play while that bottom lane scuffle was happening. DZG grabbed the priority bottom lane. Despite losing that kill, they managed to pick up that first dragon, which is not bad for them.
No, it actually evens them up in gold right across the board.
Salto looking to actually get aggressive onto OTF. Maokai is on a ward, so will be spotted out. No extra danger for our Star Dragon this time around. But yeah, we're seeing the power of Maokai support right here. He's got the early swiftness boots. He's just going to run around the map and throw down saplings. And when I tell you as a support player how frustrating this is to play against, because it's not like you could walk through there with your sweeper and be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to clear out any of this extra vision that Maokai is throwing around. No, you got to use your body to clear it out.
Yeah.
You don't take that damage, they're just going to sit there forever. And it sucks to play against. It's no fun.
I mean, no one really wants to walk into like a bush with a Maokai sapling in it.
Ooh, OTF maybe in trouble. Gonna use that flash to get away. Aurelion Soul calls down the falling star. OTF ticking down. They're gonna donate the kill over to the Aurelion Soul. Nice gank by Sneaky Hippo.
Absolutely. I cannot believe how even this beginning of the game is.
Yeah, despite their record for DZG being winless, their games have been fairly competitive, and we're seeing it here. There's a lot of times in sports where the record will not belie the actual strength of the team, and even if you look across the record and you're like, oh, this team has gone winless, there's like nothing this team can do in this league, we're seeing it here. DZG is still fighting no matter what. They're looking like a very competitive team.
Absolutely. And I mean, I know that I was a little worried coming into it as they've had a rough split, but they're really showing up this game.
Yeah, and on the other side for Syntinels, this is a very important match for them. If they do manage to drop a game to DZG, or, you know, heavens forbid, the whole series, they could lose potential playoffs contention. They're 3-2 right now. They're sitting at about 6th place, if I remember from my last look at the standings. Only the top 4 seeds right now are locked into playoffs. So if they can manage to 2-0 this spot, they're going to look much better at locking in that playoffs contention. But if they drop a game, if they drop the series, it's going to get a lot rougher for them as the weeks continue on.
All right, so we had 2 Noon Quiver started and Boots of Swiftness on Maokai in the bot lane.
Yeah, the boost of swiftness, like I said earlier, Maokai really is just going to sort of run around the map and do whatever he really wants to do, because that is how Maokai support plays, is Dalto. Trading a little bit in the mid lane. Malone is here, but I don't think they're going to be doing too much. As with the taunt miss onto Chai, I don't think there's a real kill angle on this Mundo, but Sneaky Hippo getting pretty aggressive on him. They've got a stacked wave here, but I'm not sure I would be calling for the dive on the Mundo. I think they're just going to let him lie that one.
I mean, they're all kind of setting up. It looks like Goy Grub spawns in about 10 seconds, if I'm not wrong, with the overlay.
Yeah, it should be in a couple of seconds now. It's just more trading on the top side. Wyvern, like I mentioned in the draft, Shen does actually have a pretty decent time into tanks in the top lane. That percentage max health damage on his Q, if he can drag the blade through you, does a lot of work. And if you let Shen get a couple of those taunt Qs into you, you can really start to lose lots of your HP. As we've got Scuffle here on the Grubs. Nightmare trying to get in. Malone is actually getting very low. Nightmare is in. The Grub does go over to Sneaky Hippo, but who's going to fall first? Both junglers are so low. Somebody's got to die here. Sneaky Hippo's the one to fall. Nightmare's going to live with a sliver of HP. Should get picked up. No, the shields from OTF is good enough. Dragon Ball Durai picks that one up, and it's 4 Grubs to 2. Syntinels come out on top on the play.
Oh, wow. That was an amazing... Yeah, I was just saying, that was a great trade right there.
I mean, for DZG, you're not the most upset about the outcome of that, as you deny the 5 and the 6 Grubs, which really are the breakpoints for the Sentinel side. You want to be pushing on those extra Void Mites, but getting 4 is not bad, and obviously if you get 1 extra Grub plus a kill out of it, you're not going to be feeling too awful if you're a Sentinels fan, but It's not the perfect outcome you were hoping for.
I think just taking some away is completely worth it.
Guys here in the mid lane flashes in to try and get the twisted advance, but opts for the better of it when he realizes how close that Aurelion Soul is to tower. He's just going to let the dragon fly away that time. I'm assuming that Maokai has the Summoner Spell CDR in the runes, but I think if you're trying to make flash plays like this, I would have loved to have seen a Hex Splash from this Maokai especially.
Absolutely.
Lyron and Shy trading up here on the top side. Every time we come up here, it's just the 2 tanks beating on each other, and you know, this is honest League of Legends up here. None of this ranged top lane shenanigans, no veins, no twisted face. This is tank on tank action.
No
this
Quinn.
Is what we love to see.
Sorry, I had to throw that one out of sounds. I feel like it's more like they're just gonna bonk each other for a while.
Yeah, now Sneaky Hippo is up here to potentially interrupt. Chai's going to pop that Ghost to try and get away. Does have that passive, so we'll just be able to not get caught by the CC. Mundo does, in fact, go where he pleases, and it's just going to be able to walk away from the play. And it doesn't feel great for Sneaky Hippo, because you know they're doing Dragon on the other side of the map. You know they have that objective, and you're trying to get something done, but trying to gank for the early game Aurelion Soul never feels great. Looking to gank into a Mundo is not a super comfortable spot to be in. And speaking of
No.
not coming response, Dalto may be in trouble. Does have the Sky's Descent. Is going to be forced to pop that one under his tower, but it might just be too little too late. He's on a sliver of HP. The win becomes lightning from Nightmare. Will seal the deal and pick up Shutdown Gold for the Xin.
Oof. Great, it was a good shutdown onto Aurelion Sol, took away that bounty that he had lingering on him. We currently have about a 2k gold lead. It's 5-2 at 13 minutes.
Yeah, 1 Dragon to 1. We do have an Infernal Rift this time around. The early Ocean and Cloud Dragon, not the most exciting. You're happy to see it not be the Soul, but at the same time, it's like, well, if we want to get to the Soul, we have to take these dragons, and how much do we really care about, like, that out-of-combat movement speed or that out-of-combat healing? How much does it truly matter?
Yeah. Honestly, with this team, I'd love to see a Mountain.
Nightmare's up here on the top side. Lyra maybe in trouble. Doesn't have that taunt. No flash either. It's actually just going to look to start trading back. As that Titanic Hydra is a little dangerous on the Shen. Nightmare healthy enough to keep the trade going, but Chai potentially forced off there. So the Shen will be able to make it out without so much as a scratch. Nicely played by Lyra.
I was shocked to see how well this Acel's farming in compared to Karma, because her wave clear is fairly decent. I've been playing her a lot mid.
Speaking of, Basil forced to take that blast out. But yeah, 120 farm at 14 minutes is pretty dang good. And speaking of good farm, you can look on the bottom side. We mentioned earlier, yeah, these bottom lanes are really just going to be farming out. And they took that to heart for sure, as they are both nearing on 12 CS, not 12, but 10 CS a minute, which is damn near perfect. Getting a stat check in on the Aurelion Soul, that's 128 Stardust. So 100 Stardust in about 10 minutes that's some good farming for the Acel. He's going to feel much better about that spot.
100%. Right, Heartsteel is picked up on the Mundo.
I know I haven't seen too much Mundo recently, and I know Heartsteel has significantly felt better in the past, back when it was a mythic. Now it's just a normal item like the rest of them. But I haven't been seeing too much of it in most of the games that I've been seeing played. A lot of times people are opting for the more standard tank items, your things like your Canic, Rookern, if you're looking at too much magic damage. I suppose for Mundo in this game, especially into the melee matchup of Shen, there's potential to pick up a lot of Heartsteel stacks, but we'll have to see how much value you can actually get out of it over the course of the game.
Yeah, for sure.
In the meantime, Lyra is actually trading pretty well here, just with that Titanic Hydra in inventory. It's the Heartsteel stack goes over, but again, Shen not having mana, just being able to continue to stack up that percentage health damage, feels pretty good to play against.
I mean, he's definitely trade for trade here.
Yeah, I say that as now maybe he's in trouble. He tries to pop that ulti. He's going to look potentially for a kill here. That Shen is getting very low. One more auto should seal the deal. I cast a curse a little bit too quickly. Kai finds the solo kill.
I mean, Mundo goes where Mundo pleases. Alright, what have we got coming up? We got about an Infernal Drake coming up in about 50 seconds. Looks like Zin's looking for something mid lane, but Acel does take the back.
Yeah, he does have the Herald. He's going to throw that one down. So this potentially is just a mid lane tower going down with the charge. Wave coming in. Acel's not nearby. DZG can look for a collapse, but it might just be too little too late, as that tower is just gone. That's 2 free towers for Syntinels, and they can look to transition that into a dragon as well.
They definitely have the prio for it.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Dragon Nightmare just hiding off in the wings, looking for a little bit of a flank here. As the teleport's in from Chai as well. There's the Starfall coming down. Malone getting very low. Nightmare trying to keep him down. He's got enough shields, but not for much longer. Chai finds that kill in 1, and the rest of DZG is forced to run away. And Atlas, I think you are on to the wrong side of the map, because that is a Mundo who does not like you very much. Ghost is on. They're going to force the flash out of that Jinx. And with that, it should just be a free dragon going over to Syntinels. They're playing a clean game here. The early game was a little rough, but they're starting to solidify their gold lead.
Absolutely. I was just going to say, we're looking at almost a 4k gold lead here. Karma is not a fan of Shen right now.
Getting the top side, we're going to get that flash forced away by Dalta with the black hole. Wyvern will get rooted up in the back half of that, but it's just damage onto the Shen. I don't think he's too concerned. OTF, I think actually has to be a little concerned as Sneaky Hippo is on their way up, and even with the rotating bottom lane of Syntinels, this Karma may just be dead. No Stormbringer even needed. Dalto just finds the Karma under tower.
And Volley's looking for that top tier 1 turret. These guys just knocking out turrets.
Yeah, it is the first turret for DZG. It's going to help them even out that gold lead just a little bit. Now down to only 3k behind as opposed to the 4.5 we were looking at a little bit ago. But with the early turrets taken from Syntinels, there's a lot of standing gold off the map as Malone may be in trouble. Has that Spider-Man hook, is going to be able to get himself out of there. But yeah, with all the early turrets taken, it will extend Syntinels' gold a little bit, and it's going to give them a decent amount of map control. It's just now on DZG to sit back under these towers, farm up a little bit again. Scaling is the name of the game for them, and looking for their way back in with a big Shen ulti, with an engage from Sneaky Hippo, trying to find a pick onto one of these squishier members. Like, you have Nightmare there with the 150 shutdown gold, and even Domination sitting on a 200 shutdown gold. If DZG can get one of those onto their important carries, if Dalto or Atlas can pick it up, they're not feeling too bad about the spot they're in this game.
I completely agree. I mean, Jinx is going to start coming online. She's got her first item. She really needs to hit that, like, I think it's her 2-3 item power spike.
Yeah, the Infinity Edge and Runeans, or Infinity Edge and more Doms. The Infinity Edge really being the key ingredient there for Jinx, as you can see the VF Sword in her inventory. It looks like Domination probably going for about the same. The Stray Longsword is there in his inventory, but he does have the BF and the Pickaxe, which is telling me at least that looking for that IE power spike with the Kraken Slayer, just trying to get as much damage down into these frontline tanks as possible.
Alright, what do we got coming up? We've got Baron, an early Baron spawn in about 10 seconds.
With the potential of the finished Kraken Slayer and Domination probably getting close to that Infinity Edge, there's a chance for Syntinels to look for an early Baron, especially with all the side lane control here as we're watching Lyvern just get chased down. Sneaky Hippo actually forced a flash out of his own jungle. I mentioned it earlier, just the amount of zone control that you get. Put that on pause as OTF actually getting engaged on Malus with the depth charge. They're looking at the damage onto Karma, but Nightmare is there to defend his mid laner. Now potentially it's Sneaky Hippo, the one in trouble. Sky's Descent looking for some big damage from the Aurelians over the win because lighting over the wall. Nightmare with a huge amount of damage with the Mantra Q from OTF. It's a double kill for Zid. It's a double kill for Karma. Lighter will be able to trade one back onto OTF, but it's just for his life. Phelios picks up the last one. It's an ace for the Syntinels.
Wow, that was one fight. That's what I say. That was good fight for Syntinels.
Yeah, really nice use of the wall there from Nightmare to get onto that backline and to make something happen there on the dive. Because it looked like potentially with the damage onto OTF, there was a potential turn for DZG there, but great job by Nightmare and from OTF just shutting that one down, allowing Domination to free hit throughout the course of the fight, and it's going to net them a Baron as well.
Yep, this is just going to be a free Baron for him. I think that Sentinel is in a really good place right now. 12-4, it's about a 7k gold lead, and I want to see DZG crawl their way back into it. I think that there still is a way. They're just going to have to take these bounties off. We've got a 400 gold bounty sitting on Zhao. 350 on Phelios.
Bounties on pretty much all the important members of Syntinels, as well as those objective bounties. So if they can manage to find that inner mid tower, that outer mid tower, and that outer bottom lane turret, they can get a lot of the standing gold on the map for themselves. But pushing into the Baron buff is not super easy, as it looks like Sneaky Hippo, sensing potential danger in the brush, will walk away. Not going to get caught out by the brushy tactics, as Nightmare's actually going to dash forward into this one, 1 versus 2. Domination is behind him for now, as he's just dashing forward. He absolutely does not care. Melona's getting super low. Domination's going to use that Moonlight Vigil, get some aggressive damage down, and it's just the Titanic Hydra for the double kill sweep for
Oh.
Nightmare. That's Dalto in trouble. He's going to bring that Starfall down, but I do not think it will save him this time around. Domination finds their third. In the meantime, topside, Shy and Libern trading, but Shen, my friend, I think it is best past your time in the laning phase to bully out the tanks. Shy finds the solo, and Syntinels tighten their grip on the map.
Wow. Aphelios has picked up the Infinity Edge.
Oh, Atlas. Has to flash away from OTF under his own tower. Oh, if that ain't the state of this game for DZG, I do not know what
Absolutely. That just feels bad having to flash into your own turret.
Domination, actually maybe in trouble here. That Blast Blade is going to pop from the red Q, but Malone can't find the angle on that hook. Nice movement from Domination to get around that corner. No amount of Lollipop is going to find the hook that far around, so he will manage to get away from that one.
Alright, Sentinel is pushing into the base of DZG right now. I think right now they just have to kind of turtle it out.
Yeah, it's not as though they have bad wave clear. Jinx plus Aurelion Soul can really clear through those waves with the black hole. It's just going to be a matter of not overcommitting to anything as DZG looks to try and push Chai off on the side lane. Nice sidestep from Dalto to get away from that Mantra Q. OTF, though, wants to keep the aggression going. Sneaky Hippo doing a good job of tanking up for his mid laner, but in the meantime, in mid lane, now in trouble. Atlas caught out. Dragon Ball Durag with the flash twisted advance. The unavoidable gameplay means that Jinx will fall. That first inhibitor will go down in mid lane. And it looks like Sentinels are going to try and rotate this one up to this top lane turret. Sneaky Hippo on the wrong side of the map. Going to use that Stormbreaker to get himself out, but it's not far out enough. OTF finds the root and drops him down. Poke onto Domination, but Malone, I think you're a little too squishy to be looking for that one. Chai goes on a rampage. Libern looking to pick up some damage here. Dalto doing a good job with that Breath of Light on the backline, but they're just too damn tanky. Libern goes down. Dalto forced to try and fly away into his Nexus, but OTF follows. It's an ace for Sentinels, and that's going to be game one.
Wow. It was
Yeah,
a great game.
We were talking about in the early game that DZG was staying competitive. They were looking to trade blow for blow, but once Sentinels got a lead, they really just expanded it super cleanly and shut out the game in about as quick fashion as you could hope for a team.
Absolutely. That was a great first game for Sentinels. I do hope to see a comeback from DZG in game number 2. So we are going to go to a quick break to get ready for the game number 2 draft. So we shall be right back. Alright, we're good. Alright. Yeah, a little bit. I'm kind of hoping that it's not, but oops, I am coming down there. Hold on one second.
Eternal. mind. I hope it's real, this life comes around. Just keep your faith and search for the fountain. Time is of the essence, the blood running through our core. It's best to not feel sorry when it's over. I will be the greatest that you ever seen before, and I'll say eternal.
Every time we say goodbye, they all see that it's a lie. 'Cause we always give it one last try. Yeah, you've watched me break 1,000 times. Now I'm all alone, 'cause you never show. You say you will, but then you don't. That's how it goes. Don't wanna know. I'm turning off my mind so I get by. I just wanna be happy, happy tonight. Happier tonight. Happier tonight. Can't be waiting for you in the morning. I'ma leave without giving a warning. I'ma leave without giving a. But every time we say goodbye, we all know that it's a lie. Now I'm all alone, 'cause you never show. You say you will, but then you don't. That's how it goes. Don't wanna know. I'm turning off my mind so I get by. I just wanna be happy, happy tonight. Happier tonight. Happier tonight. Can't be waiting for you in the morning. I'ma leave without giving a warning. I'ma leave without giving a. Every time we say goodbye, we all know that it's a lie. I just wanna be happy.
Voices going through my head. These voices telling me what to say. about you, about us and what we do. Voices going through my head. These voices telling me what to say about you, about us, we do. I'm shit too. Let's watch some techniques. I will free myself from you, yeah.
till dawn. But how can I hide it without an alibi? It's a runner's fight without an alibi. Took my innocence. I can't wait no longer. I'm playing with the monsters. Everything that brought me alive. Oh, we're all like monsters. Playing with the monsters. They brought me alive, but got no alibi. It's a runner's fight without an alibi. Took my innocence without an alibi.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here for Game 2 of Syntinels versus DZG. After was kind of a heartbreaking Game 1, it really felt like DZG was making some fights, trying to make something happen in the early game. Syntinels picked up their lead, shut the game down pretty consistently and pretty early on. So we're going to see if DZG can fight back in Game 2, or if Syntinels are going to close the series out 2-0 and keep their playoffs hopes alive.
Yep. Definitely excited for game number 2. Let's see what we got coming in.
Yep, we've already got the bans coming in underway. Again, a lot of that jungle focus staying the same for Syntinels. It's pretty much a run back of the draft Game 1 so far. We've got the Senna Seraphine taken away by DZG, and the Lilia Pantheon taken away by Syntinels.
Alright, and then we see the Aurelian Soul taken away.
Don't want to let the DZG mid laner have that one this time around. Despite the fact that I think they actually had a pretty successful matchup in the mid lane versus that Karma. They are still going to focus that one down, take it away. Now, what is the pick here for Shy? What are they thinking? It's the Karma first pick again. It made it through draft. I'm not too shocked to see them grab that one again. I'm honestly hoping we don't get a run back of the draft from Game 1.
Yeah. Looks like DZG picks up the Maokai.
I do like the Maokai takeaway. It was a big thorn in the side of DZG. And speaking of something that got banned away Game 1, Smolder is here this time around. DZG are locking that.
Baby Dragon gets through.
I have some strong opinions about Smolder's build paths currently in the game. I see a lot of people rush Essence Reaver on him and try and do the Navori critical strike build.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real. I don't like that build. I think it sucks. I think almost every game you should be going Leandries and Shojin and Riftmaker and maybe a Manamune if you're really struggling for mana. But for the most part, you don't need Essence Reaver. You don't really need the mana generation. You don't need the on-hit on your Q. You would rather just farm with your W in the early game, and it scales better with AP than it does with AD early on, so just pick up the Leandries, apply that item, and just roll that bowling ball down the minion line and give yourself some Q stacks. It's pretty free.
We do have the Swain and Volibear pick up on the side of Sentinel. A lot of flex picks picked up on the side of Sentinels so far.
Yeah, it does look like DZG have the read that this Volibear is going to go topside as they're throwing those heavy bans towards the jungle, the Vi and the Nocturne taken away, whereas Sentinels looking to try and take away some of the pool options. They're banning away the Varus, which at the very least says to me they're expecting that Smolder to go into one of the solo lanes, but they're going to take away the Orianna as well, which, again, to me at least says that they're not sure where that Smolder is going exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's been flexed in all lanes, so there is potential, but that Misfortune pickup.
Yeah, that means it's a solo lane Smolder for sure. It's just a matter of which one he goes into. Saving that counter pick for either top or mid lane, depending on where everything lines up for Syntinels. But like you said, they have a lot of flex picks. The Karma, the Swain, and the Volibear all can move into multiple different lanes. But with that Jarvan lock-in, that tells me DZG had the read right. That Volibear's headed top, and the Jarvan was most likely going into the jungle, so with the Swain bottom lane, what support are they going to lock in? looks like a Renata. I don't know how I feel about this lane pairing, actually.
You know, I don't know how I feel about it either. I wasn't so sure about the Renata putting like placement with it. I mean, Swain Senna's big, but they did ban Senna, so.
Yeah, I think there are some other poke supports that you could fit Swain with, or maybe an engaged support like a Leona or an Alistar. But with that Azir lock in, that means that's a Smolder top for Lyvern this time around. And versus the Volibear, I feel like he's actually going to be free to just stack however much he wants.
Absolutely. And then you've got the Maokai Misfortune bot lane. So that's kind of a lot of poke and lockdown. And this draft is much more exciting than I want to say the first one. The first one I just think has too much scaling. This is going to be super exciting. We get to see the baby Elder Dragon get to its full potential. We'll have to keep an eye on those smolder stacks as they come through. We've got about a minute and a half until game time.
Yeah, the thing I like here for DZG is it has some early game agency. Azir can really make some things happen when he hits level 6. It's not the same as a Aurelion Soul where you're kind of stuck just farming up those stacks until you get that unlocked ultimate and then trying to make a play happen. It's not like the Shen top side who really has to play around his team. It's not the Jinx Nautilus bottom lane that wants to just sit back and farm and scale. You have Misfortune Maokai. You have Zin's out in the jungle. You're going to be making action happen on the bottom side of this map. And I think if you're DZG, it's kind of what you have to do. You saw what happened with the scaling in game 1. It didn't particularly work out in your favor. You have to make things happen. And it's the kind of thing you have to say, like, you know what, screw it, we're so far behind already in game score, in series score, we have to make something happen. Something has to be different this time around. And DZG is going to look to make it work in this game, too.
I have no doubt this is going to be a action-packed game. Still unsure how I feel about this Swain Renata, but I guess we'll have to see how it turns out. I mean, you do have the Renata ultimate paired with the Swain ultimate. On top of like the Jarvan engage, but I feel like that's a lot of AP in the bot lane and mid lane, and depending on how Volley picks, they don't have, like, besides Jarvan, they don't really have a whole lot of AD.
Yeah, Jarvan is really their solo AD. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw Nightmare go for a more damage-focused build. A lot of times you're seeing Jarvan's build, like, a lot more utility-focused. You're just there to, like, press EQ, flag and drag in, get the ult off, and then sort of just, like, hope that your team gets enough damage while you've got a couple people locked down in the Cataclysm. But with the mobility that DZG has and with the CC that they have as well, I wonder if Nightmare is going to opt for, like, maybe a Bruiser Lethality build, maybe like a Sundered Sky into like a Titanic Hydra or even a Profane Hydra if he really wants to be damage heavy, maybe an Eclipse as well. I think there's options here, but like you said with the Swain Renata, it doesn't really have that same gelling and meshing up like a Renata plus a lot of AD carries do in the early game. So I'm interested to actually see Dragon Ball Durag roam around a little bit, maybe even play for top lane, maybe play with Nightmare in the jungle, try and shut down this Zin's out early on into the game.
All right, we are getting into game, so I'm gonna throw this over and let's get game 2 online.
All right, I'm just looking over the runes and summoner spells already. Nothing too out of the ordinary. I'm a little surprised that Shy has opted for the lethal tempo into this ranged matchup. I would have expected to see something a little bit safer, maybe even like an Unsealed Spellbook or a Grasp of the Undying, just trying to sustain through the poke, but with the lethal tempo, it means that I think Chai is actually going to try and play aggressive here and try and get in the face of this Smolder.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by the lethal tempo, but the Achu was started. Oh, I'm so excited for this.
Lyvern gets his first stack of the game. It's already over.
I'll be interested to see the build path of Smolder, because you mentioned like the differences in the builds. Holy Doran's Ring on the side of Sentinel.
It's Doran's Ring for everybody aside from Atlas. It's jungle item, support item, and then it's Doran's Ring, or if you're feeling special, a longsword. But it's a lot of AP starts overall here, and interestingly enough, I do also want to point out that Dalton and Lyvern both are opting for the fleet footwork this time around, just looking to sustain through this poke in the early game. for Dalto especially, versus this Karma, you're expecting to get tagged by a lot of Qs, and for Lyvern, the Fleet Footwork more opts as like a hiding away kind of rune where you're gonna auto chai once and then just be like, hee hee, you can't catch me, I'm moving too fast. Kind of run away kind of deal.
Oof.
Ooh.
That's
Double pull from
sweet.
domination. Dalto still level 1 here. OTF is playing aggressive into this particular matchup, but again, with the Fleet Footwork and with the push and sustain, I think Dalto's going to be fine here. Once he hits level 2, he'll feel a lot more comfortable, but
Yeah.
OTF doing a nice job of pressuring that early game lead that he's got.
Bot lane did hit level 2 first on the side of DZG, which...
Oh, nice handshake. Atlas actually really in trouble. Has to flash away. Now Malone in trouble. Not going to take a tower shot this time around, but that's a really good early summoner for the Sentinels bottom lane, and a big mistake from Atlas, punished out by Dragon Ball Durag.
I just noticed Misfortune started longsword.
Yeah, she's got the longsword and the first strike, which to me at least says that this Misfortune is going to go for the lethality style of build. I'm expecting maybe, if not an Axiom Arc, something like an Opportunity, a Hubris, just look to do a lot of early game damage and shred through some armor.
Alright, direct to camera likes mid lane.
Yeah, for now, the jungler's clearing to opposite sides of the map. We did see OTF get an early ward onto that Raptor pit, as you can see on your screen just now. They do have an idea of where Sneaky Hippo is and where he was going. It's not full information, but it's information enough. As Nightmare is on the other side of the map, and I'm not too shocked to see him looking towards this top side, because if you can punish the Smolder early, you absolutely should.
Yeah.
I just worry that if you spend too much time trying to punish him when he's such a safe laner, if you're going to be wasting too much time and allowing Sneaky Hippo to start getting a bit of a gold lead onto this Xin Zhao.
Well, it looks like Smolder is applying some serious pressure top lane on this Volibear. Jarvan kind of wasting a little bit of time up here.
Oh, Lyvern doesn't actually know. He's going to get caught by that flag and drag. He's going to use the flash to get out. The Ghost Burn from Chai as well. But Lyvern safe enough on the Smolder, though. If you're Nightmare, seeing a flash of Smolder, I think, to me at least, says, I'm coming back top lane and I'm coming back soon.
Yep. You know that that's down. You know how long it's down for, so... Right, we do have Grubs up in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, for now, though, it does look like Nightmare is actually going to start to path towards this bottom side, maybe expecting Sneaky Hippo to head down here as well. We might actually see an early 3v3 on this bottom side of the map, as the early Cloud Dragon is spawning in just about 20 seconds as well. So far, both junglers still unseen. But it looks like with Sneaky Hippo peeling off, this might actually be a big opportunity for Nightmare to make something happen.
Ooh.
Ooh, Dragon Ball Durag, the flash forward. Atlas, no flash. Not even going to bother using the heal. It's just first blood going over to the Renata. Sneaky Hippo in the meantime is just going to start to path through mid lane. OTF, I think, has to respect this a little bit more. The Windmill's Lightning does go wide, but Sneaky Hippo is just going to help Dalto shove out this lane a little bit. They will land the knockup and actually get a lot of damage down onto this Karma. The tower shot's going to come through. Sneaky Hippo's going to feel a little bit of that pain, but they get the wave shoved in, and they're going to look for some pressure on the early grubs as Syntinels look to trade for the dragon instead.
I'm not against the dragon versus grubs trade. I think it's actually relatively good for DZG at this time, but it looks like they're just going to back.
Yeah, they're going to be forced off if they only got
Yep.
one. Dalto actually really in trouble here. OTF is going to look to land that last inner fire. Look for some extra damage. No, Sneaky Hippo tanks it up. He'll keep OTF safe. Tries to flash forward for the kill, but Nightmare saves his mid laner. And Sneaky Hippo does not find the kill. Byron, actually, you need to be careful here, my friend. Nightmare and Dragon Ball Durag have rotated up. He's got Mom coming in for some support. Nightmare only level 4, but it's a nice handshake from Dragon Ball Durag to pull him away from the tower. Nothing doing for the Smolder. Chai finds the kill.
Yeah, the Mom didn't do as much as they were kind of hoping. He's still a little bit in the early stages, so...
Yeah, still plenty of stacking and scaling to go for the Smolder, but now has the early swiftness boots, so it should be a lot easier for the Smolder to get away from a situation like that, and especially with Chai not having Flash, it's going to mean it's a lot more difficult for him to actually get on top. You can see actually him opting for his own swiftness boots just to make sure that he can try and keep up with this baby dragon.
And the Dark Seal comes out. I love it. We are currently sitting at 42 stacks for the dragon.
Yeah, we were talking about last game, the way that Smolder sort of scales up. You get those first 25, you start to scale up a little bit faster, you get to 125, and then you just skyrocket from there. We're still in that early stage where Lyvern is trying to get more stacks, but this is sort of the advantage of playing in top lane and having that range versus melee matchup. You can just hit your opponent a lot to get those stacks and try and play a bit more aggressively. But it also means that you don't have the added safety of that support. And as you can see, Syntinels do know how to punish it, so I think Lyvern has to kind of respect that this can happen. As Alto looks for the shuffle in onto OTF. The Wind Becomes Lightning doesn't land, so Sneaky Hippo's still too far away to try and find a dash in. Can't manage to get close enough, and OTF will survive the play as topside. In the meantime, Chai has the ghost on. He's looking to run down this baby dragon. Mom is not available just yet. Lyvern's still trying to kite away. Has that out-shoot for a little bit of extra slow, and will actually manage to make it out just fine. That's a free summoner for Lyvern. He's not feeling too bad about that.
I wouldn't feel too bad about that. Let's see, where are we at? We're about 54 stacks, and like you said, it takes a little bit to get to that first 125, and then it's kind of smooth sailing, so...
Chai, look at it aggressive again, but yeah, Lyvern can just fly away. Oh, hang on, Stormbreaker from Chai. This is actually a little bit too aggressive from Lyvern. He's got Mom in for a bit of extra healing, but I don't think he has the damage yet. Just that Dark Seal for damage in his inventory. The lightning coming down. Lyvern does manage to dodge it out. He will survive the exchange, but just barely.
He had no health left. He was dead to rights if he stepped forward. So, good sidestep there.
Nightmare and Sneaky Hippo are going to spot each other here in the mid lane. Nightmare doesn't actually manage to find a knockup. Also dashing in, but now you're just stuck in the two-man Cataclysm. OTF finds a nice Mantra Cube, but Nightmare's already dead. It's a nice trade back from DZG. They find a pick.
This is back and forth, trade for trades, 3-1. Not that much of a gold lead, about 1,500, if I'm doing math correct.
Yeah, this is the aggression that we wanted out of DZG in the early game, though. You have this Maokai support, you have the Misfortune bottom lane, and you have the Azir who can make these aggressive shuffle plays once he's past level 6, and they continue to look for it as Atlas may be in trouble. It's going to force to flash away and use that heal. Domination flashes away from those roots, though, Malone. Forced to try and get away. Going to burn his own flash to make sure he doesn't get caught by that hostile takeover. And that's 3 summoners burned from the bottom lane. Is OTF actually in trouble mid lane as Sneaky Hippo is going to try and work his way into this bottom lane. I don't think he's got an angle for a dive as OTF has that Mantra W. He's going to start to sustain a little bit more HP. The shield tanking up those soldier autos. Dalto really wants to find something. In the meantime, topside as well. Chai is looking for a potential lethal onto Lyvern. OTF still trading aggressively here. Has that ulti W again. He's so healthy on the Karma. Dalto gets the shield up. He's on 1 HP. Both are on 1 HP. Dalto finds the solo kill. In the meantime, topside for Lyvern gets caught up by Nightmare with the flag and drag flash. It's a 1-for-1 across the map, but excellently played by Dalto to find that solo.
Absolutely, that was a great play. This poor Smolder is definitely struggling up in top lane against the Volibear. As it looks like top turret is close to coming down in tier 1.
Yeah, Chai has gotten 4 plates already, and that is without a Rift Herald. This is sort of the advantage of the AP style of Volibear that we're seeing Chai build. He's going for that Master's Tooth first item. Volibear is really, really good at taking turrets. It's kind of like his whole thing. If you give him a Lich Bane, if you give him a Nashor, if you give him a Hull Breaker, he is going to take the entirety of your map, and he will not apologize for it.
Very true. Alright, let's see. Sentinel is taking grubs. While DZG drag him.
Yep, it's a trade in favor, I would say, of Sentinels. They get to that 5 grubs, which means they get that extra Void Might helping push down the turret as Domination spots the members of DZG on this board. They are going to go for the dive here, though. The bullet time doing so much damage under tower. Malone finds the kill. Nicely executed dive by DZG.
Great timing on the Misfortune ult. This is the aggression that we definitely wanted to see.
Dalto, maybe looking for something onto OTF. Sneaky Hippo and Malone are a little far away, though, as Nightmare is here in the mid lane as well. Maokai ult coming through. Won't manage to find the route onto either of those members, though. So everybody will manage to walk away in mid lane. It's just ultis traded.
Alright, I'm curious what Smolder's building.
Given the items in inventory, I wouldn't be shocked if he's going for the Essence Reaver build, but the early Dark Seal really makes me think that he wants to offer something like Shojin and is just trying to be a spellcaster early game. But until we see, like, 2-3 components or that first item, we're really not going to be able to know.
Alright.
Wyvern face checks the brush. Chai has the aggressive damage. The Lightning Shield actually doing a lot of work to keep the trading away from the Smolder. And if you set the range top laner behind, this really is what can happen. Wyvern is starting to struggle up here. Down to about 15 CS, even being able to pick up this wave. Stack-wise, how close are we to getting that 125, I wonder?
Let's take a look. We're at 92.
Okay, so he's not too far away from the 125. It's definitely slower stacking than you want it to be, but given all of the pressure that Sentinels have thrown up here into the top side, how much they've been trying to keep this Smolder down, it's not too shocking to see him sitting behind. And again, once he hits that 125, he will start to stack up a hell of a lot faster. It's just going to be, until that point, he really is going to be kind of on the struggle bus.
Yeah, I mean, he's been bullied to no end up top lane, so... I mean, given what his lane has been, I think he's doing a good job.
TF and Dalto trading in the mid lane. That Mantra Q just doing plenty of work on Dalto's health bar. Not even the Malignant's completed yet for OTF. He's landing these Mantra Qs to no end. This is kind of the annoyance of the Karma mid lane. At least I'd say even Karma in the solo lane. She just gets to bully you out with such low cooldowns and such high damage because she is balanced around that support idea where you get less gold, but you get less XP, and you are there really just to sustain teammates. But you throw that in a solo lane, you get good scalings with good base damage and low cooldowns. It can be really, really annoying to play against.
Absolutely, yeah. I took a liking to Karma mid, and so far, like, it's been pretty successful, but I'm waiting for them to nerf it again.
I wouldn't be too surprised if we see some Karma AP scaling nerfs in the future. Try and just tone her down a little bit from the solo lane. Or maybe even if they try to buff some of her counters in mid lane, maybe nerf some of her counters in support as well. I don't know. I'm not on the balance team. That's Freak's call. If he wants to keep Karma in the solo lanes, you know what? That's his prerogative. But with no platings, that means that this top lane turret is super squishy and will just fall. That's the first turret going down to Chai with that completed Nashers. He's got a lot of damage in his inventory.
Yes, he sure does.
Nightmare is down here on the bottom side. I don't think that Make It Rain actually ended up spotting him out as he's going to look for the damage onto Atlas. Malone flashes at the same time that Atlas does. Not 100% sure about that, but they're going to pop at that Maokai ulti, try and get aggressive in. The bullet time manages to catch the damage onto 2, but the hostile takeover is down before Jordan Roll Durag falls. Atlas trying to kite down on the backside, but Chai isn't here. He's walked down. Now Dalto's in trouble. OTF is on the rotate, picks that one up. Atlas is going to look to trade at least 1-for-1, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to find it. The Sundered Sky healing just a little too good for Nightmare. Malone forced to run away, but I do not think your tower can provide you any safety. It's a double kill for domination, and it's an excellent counter gank, counter dive from the Sentinels.
Yeah, that was very, very unfortunate for DZG, but well played by Sentinels for sure. We are at 120 on the Baby Dragon, so we are in a good shape. He is almost to that 125 mark. And then we're smooth sailing.
smooth sailing may be a bit much to
Oh.
say at this point, as he's going to be struggling a little bit. As Sneaky Hippo actually maybe has managed to find OTF here alone in the jungle. It's a 2-level disparity, but Zin's out pretty good at dealing damage. Dalto and Lyvern are nearby, so I don't think OTF is going to continue that trade. As it is just going to be the first Hextech Dragon going over to Syntinels with the pressure going on this top side. I like that DZG is at least trying to play cross-map. They're looking to take away that top turret. They're taking away some jungle camps as well. Even while behind there, I think they're still making smart plays and are making some decent choices here.
For sure. They're gonna summon the Rift Herald mid lane here, which is gonna clear up yet another tier 1 turret.
There's a potential for a collapse here as Dalto maybe can look for a shuffle. Actually, Nightmare tries to get the Cataclysm in on him, but it's dashed out by Dalto. Mom comes through. The tower does fall. Maokai Ultimate trying to catch some members of the Sentinels rotating away, but it's no engage for either side. It's just the tower going down. I won't say for free, but the tower did fall.
Yeah, definitely wasn't for free, but you know what? We'll take it. Alright, what do we got coming up here? We've got, like, we're pretty much set on objectives right now. We just gotta farm up, get some items. The Serpent's Fang was picked up by Misfortune.
I'm not actually too surprised to see that one grabbed. I know I was making calls for things like Opportunity and Hubris earlier. Yomu's is at times a fine option. Personally, I'm not a big fan of it. I think since it got taken down from Mythic into regular item, it really has lost a lot of its power and its luster as a potential lethality item.
Yeah.
Again, that Opportunity really can do what you want the Yomus to do, just that little bit better. But the Serpent's Fang, I think, is a really good call. You have Karma Shields, you have Volibear self-shielding, Jarvan self-shielding, and Renata as well. It's going to get a lot of value over the course of this game.
You're definitely seeing the annoyance of the Maokai saplings. It looks like Renata's face-checked a few of them, and you can just tell by the slow. I can kind of feel the pain there, so...
It's relatable, yeah. Whenever I play against a Maokai support, I'm like, man, I really need to clear out this vision. But if I do, they're like, what if they're just sitting in the next bush over and I'm just gonna die? As OTF is trying to trade with Lyvern here. He's gonna call down his mom for some backup. OTF actually taking a lot of damage. Lyvern, not even one item yet, still trading out nearly favorably with OTF, but now the rest of the members of Sentinels will rotate to bully down the poor baby dragon. Nightmare will find their second kill.
Guys, just leave the dragon alone. I feel like we're all grouping top lane to bully this poor dragon.
Like, it's technically the right call because you can't let him scale up for free and just, like, you know, play his own game. But the second time, leave the poor baby dragon alone. He's struggled enough.
He's been bullied.
Atlas
Alright.
gonna be forced to run away here mid lane. Nightmare trying to rotate in, but nothing doing on that particular play, as it looks like they are just trying to continue to secure some bottom side vision, look to play for Dragon in a couple of minutes time, and just continue to farm up for now, as they're happy with the lead they've got. Obviously, the players can't see the gold lead like we can, but you can hit tab, you can see your jungler being a couple of components up, you can see your bottom lane being even in items versus the cheap lethality items from the Misfortune, and your top laner being a full item ahead. You can feel that you have a lead over the course of this game.
And you did say it was going to be a Spirit of Sojourn build, and we do see that is the first item on the Smolder.
Yeah, I really like this. If you're playing more for the W poke kind of style and you're trying to just get some damage down during the laning phase, I do think the Spear of Trojan will do a lot more for you. And I would expect to see things like the Leandries and the Riftmaker soon after, but I'm not sure he'll get to that point as Chai is going to come down to bully the dragon again. He's got the Ghost on the lethal tempo. He is autoing so fast. He's going to munch down on this poor baby dragon. Dragon Ball Durags from the back just to make sure he has nowhere to go. The AP volume there, he does a little bit of damage. That man hurts.
You know, I've always been a fan of AP Volibear. I think he just does an insane amount of damage along with, like, the boost of swiftness. You're just schmoovin'.
Dalto is going to shuffle OTF. Doesn't manage to tank the tower shot. That one minion manages to keep himself alive. Malone is coming over, but Dalto just has the damage in the 1v1. Not giving a care. He manages to solo out Karma.
They're about like a 4K gold lead right now. I would really love to see DZG close the gap.
Sneaky Hippo in trouble. Shy wants to get aggressive on him. He's going to start to stack on the lethal tempo, and like you said, less damage. Sneaky Hippo doesn't manage to get the flash over the wall, and Nightmare bops him down with the Cataclysm.
Oh boy. Now we do see the Abyssal Mask picked up by the Azir.
I've seen this as tech from Azir mid lanes. It seems to be a fairly common option now that you get an early Frozen Heart Abyssal Max to try and be tanky when you look for the sort of shuffle in kind of style of play. But normally whenever you see that, you're seeing it with Grasp of the Undying in the laning phase, and you're trying to stack up a lot of extra HP so you have that survivability. I don't know if the Fleet Footwork is going to give you that same amount of sustain, or that same amount of HP gain, I would say, over the course of the game. So we'll have to see how successful it actually ends up being for Dalto. Honestly, I think I might have preferred something like a Liandry's or a just another damage item. Not like a Horizon focus, but like, I don't know, something else for the Azir more damage focus. Because right now, it seems like your team really is struggling to deal that damage currently.
I would have liked to see Liandry's pick up.
This health stacking from Swain, even the AP Volibear is still going to start to stack up a decent chunk of HP with the Riftmaker, with whatever Spectre's Cowl item he goes for next. I assume it's probably a Canic Recurn. Obviously the Jargon is going to have a ton of HP items in inventory. The Leander just has a lot of value, and again, it's one of those Mythic items that lost a lot of its power transitioning from a Mythic to a normal item, but it's still Leander's Torment. It's still really good.
It still holds a lot of value. And let's see. We are at 171 stacks on Smolder.
Sneaky Hippo tries to take the gate, but gets interrupted by the damage there from OTF. Doesn't get the last one over the wall, but OTF is here for the follow. With the Scuttlecraft speed up, Nightmare's going to get in range for that Cataclysm. He does have the Crescent Guard to keep himself alive, but a nice handshake by Dragon Ball Durag will drag him back to his demise. OTF will find that one, and with no jungler for DZG, this should just be a free Baron for Syntinels.
Dalto's looking for something, but I don't think that that's where you want to be, but...
Malona's here as well. It seems like they're just going to try and annoy the members of Syntinels for now while Atlas takes down this mid lane tier 1 turret. So they'll pick up an objective bounty for themselves. And the Baron take is actually pretty slow. Atlas has time to rotate over if they want to look for some kind of contest. Yeah, this take is a lot slower than I had anticipated it to be, but they're playing without an AD carry. They don't have their Volibear here for the damage, and it doesn't look like they're actually going to play to try and contest. They're just going to look to take down the second mid lane turret instead, as the Baron will finally drop, but DZG are actually going to get plenty of work done. It's now just a matter of, can they get out once they take this tower?
I mean, at least they're trading. I mean, yeah, they still get Baron buff on the side of Sentinel, but DZG got 2 turrets.
And they get the Hexgate out. Nightmare is there, but they have the Blast Cone to try and walk away a little bit farther. Here's the Smolder Mom coming over the top. Nightmare may have actually gone a little bit too far, but it's a nice hostile takeover to keep the jungler safe. He's forced to flash out. He's on 1 HP. Who can fight last hit? Nobody can! Nightmare escapes with his life. Just barely, but it's a great turnaround from DZG there. Like you said, trading some extra turrets, then while they lose the Baron buff, they at least get some gold back on the map from it.
Yeah. They've closed the gap to about a 3k gold lead. Not gonna complain about it.
Nightmare is going to take the Hexgate in, see that his red buff has been taken, a nice unstoppable to get on top of Malone. In the meantime, trying the backline. You are 1 versus 3. You're not that tanky on the Volibear. He's forced a Power Breaker over the wall, get himself out. Malone still getting engaged on. Has that Canic Recurn, so he's fairly tanky, but not that tanky. Nightmare will find it. The Emperor's Divide doesn't find any value, but it will block off that corridor and make sure that the rest of the members of DZG will escape unscathed.
Yep, this is when we just walk it out. We've got Hex Tech up in about a minute, and if Sentinel secures it, that is soul for them.
Yeah, unfortunately, DZG does have to try and find a way to fight this soul, because if you give the Volibear the Hex Tech soul, I think he is really just going to take every turret in the game, regardless of whether DZG can look to fight him or stop him, as we can already see him up there on the top side. Doing a little work to the turret. He's got a Baron buff. He's happy to just be split pushing away. And with
Oh.
Atlas going to contest, this is a lot of the power of the current DZG composition. It's a 3-item misfortune. If she can't rotate down to this dragon, it could potentially be a little rough as Domination is going to get engaged on, but does have his support and jungler behind him. So Sneaky Hippo, actually the one in trouble, is going to use that Crescent Guard to buy himself a little bit of space, but the all-in from the members of the Sentinel should be good. Sneaky Hippo actually gets the flash out. He'll manage to survive for now. The bullet time doesn't get too much value. Atlas actually forced the flash away. Mom's coming over the top. Can't find any value. Gets a little bit of damage down. But Atlas gets sniped out by OTF with that Mantra Q. Now Dalto doesn't get rooted up, but is forced to back away. Like I was just saying, Atlas really is the power point of this DZG composition currently, so without him, they're going to find a lot of difficulty actually finding a way to contest for this Hextech Soul. I
was kind of hoping that Misfortune ult was going to do a little bit more, but if it was just positioned a little bit differently.
Also, just to shuffle in OTF, who's tanking the turret, but he's got that Mantra W on. Karma heals so much. Sneaky Hippo's going to look to get a rotate in here, try and pick up OTF. They'll donate the kill over to Smolder. Big shutdown gold for that baby dragon. He'll find 2 stacks on his Dark Seal. Malone manages to survive with the sliver of HP away from that Visions of Empire. At least they find a shutdown goal, but that Hextech Soul going over to Sentinels, I think, starts to spell the end of this game and the series.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping to see a comeback from DZG. I mean, it just... The baby dragon didn't get to scale as fast as we wanted to. He kind of got bullied by the big bear in top lane. Misfortune did pick up the Mortal Reminder to kind of help with that, Swain healing, Karma healing, Volibear. they all heal, man.
Yeah, lots and lots of healing going on for this particular team, so I'm not too surprised to see Misfortune grab some of the more utility-focused damage items, those niche counter-pick ones, the Mortal Reminder, the Serpent's Fang. I hope that we can start to see more damage coming out of this Misfortune, because the ultis, when they line up, will do a ton of damage.
Absolutely.
It's just a matter of actually giving Atlas the space to set them up. And speaking of getting Atlas space, Nightmare does not want to give him any. They're going to get engaged down onto Malone instead. The poor Maokai stuck on his lonesome. I do not think it should be much longer for this world. It's just a matter of who's going to pick up the kill. Mom comes over the top just to say hello to the members of Sentinels as Chai is here on the rotate. Sneaky Hippo and Lyra actually need to find their way out of this sticky situation. Stormbringer is going to come down and won't deal any damage, but Chai has got the ghost on. He's running fast. The Nice Emperor's Divide will seal off the corridor. Misfortune ulti does quite a bit of damage. Gets some autos down onto Lyra from that hostile takeover. But it's just Sentinels kind of controlling the map currently. Now it's just a matter of how quickly can they close out this series.
The baby dragon has skilled. We are at about 228.
And now it's just kind of the hope for DZG that it's not too little too late, that they can get this Smolder some free firing in team fights, can let off some sneezes and some of those Qs to get the execute off. It really is the saving grace for DZG. If they can manage to fight around him, it could look good, but I just worry that it might be too little too late.
I mean, he's got the Leandres now. And Volibear picked up, oh my gosh, why am I losing track of that item? The Spirit Visage.
Yeah, the extra healing and magic is not too shocking to pick up for Chai. I was thinking maybe a Canic Rookrun just for the amount of magic damage that DZG had, but with the amount of shielding and healing that he does for himself, Spirit Visage I think is such high value pickup here. Second Baron is going to spawn up now as we just crest over 30 minutes time. And again, with the Hextech Soul, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of opportunities for DZG to actually step up and look for a contest. The poke from this Karma is too big. The amount of engage potential that Nightmare and Chai have by just walking directly into the members of DZG does not feel great for them to try and play around.
Absolutely not. It does look like DZG is kind of looking to see if there is a way into that Baron, but I honestly think that Sentinel has a lot of, like, they're just going to protect that Baron. Is that Volibear really going to solo it?
I mean, he's going to start it solo at the very least. A Sneaky Hippo going to get caught out by Dragon Ball Durag, but for DZG, there's two pathways here. There's a pathway where you try not to lose, and you just give up the Baron, turtle in your base, try and make sure that you don't lose quickly. But there's also the pathway where you try and play to win, where you look to try and contest this Baron, and you sort of flip it 50-50, and you say, hey, if we get it, we're still in this game. We have an opportunity to look for something, but if we give it up, oh, well, we were already that far behind. It's not like we're losing anything extra.
They're just melting this Baron.
Yeah, 2 members on it. They are just going to take it away. No vision for DZG means no contest, and it should just be the Smite going over to Nightmare for their second Baron of the game. And I think, I said it on the Soul, I'll say it again on the Baron, I think that should start to spell the end of this series.
Yeah, it's looking a little grim on the side of DZG. I just don't think that they had enough like damage in lane to be able to contest Syntinels.
Yeah, once they started putting down that pressure on the top side, Lyburn really like trying to get farm down, trying to get those dragon practice stacks up, but if you're getting hard cans by the Jarvan and the Volibear and you're forced to just play under turret the whole game, you're not going to be able to farm up that well, and DZG just wasn't able to do enough on the other side of the map to even out the amount of pressure that Syntinels was throwing up to that top side.
I'm surprised that I don't see a collector on this fortune. I don't really know what the standard build path is, but kind of just went different than what I've normally seen.
I don't think collector would have been terrible this game, as hang on Nightmare looking for an engage onto Dalto is going to force the flash out the Emperor's Divide to pull him out of his own Cataclysm. But now poor Malone is stuck on the other side of the wall trying to get through. The teleport's coming through from Lyburn. They're going to look to try and make a fight out of this. But Domination is just so healthy on this front line. Can you hurt the Swain? No, you cannot. It's a double kill for OT. Yep, it's a double kill for Chai. It's a clean ace for Syntinels, and that's going to be the game.
Yes, there's a lot of 30-second respawn timers. I think they're just going to barrel it down mid. I think this is going to be the end.
Yeah, honestly, a disappointing series for DZG again. There were parts of the game where they looked competitive, they were trying to strike back, they were making plays happen, but Syntinels were just that little bit cleaner, and with a 2-0 finish here, they're going to keep their contention for top 6 for that playoff seeding alive. So DZG not able to play the upset tonight, but Syntinels, if you're a fan of them, you're seeing them keep their playoff hopes alive, so we got something out of this series at least.
Absolutely. I gotta say, DZG did play very well. I was very impressed by, what they were able to do, but unfortunately, it just was not enough. And unfortunately, that is going to be all they wrote. But Karma did do the most damage in the game, so they did very well played by OTF.
Yeah, I think the Sentinels came in with a game plan. They knew what they were doing in the draft, and they played it through really well, both in Games 1 and Game 2. It seemed like they had pretty full control of the series from minute 1. And again, for DZG, there were moments of hope. There were sparks of something there. It just feels like they were just that little bit too late to coordination, just that little bit too late to come through on a play. And Sentinels punished properly, close out the series 2-0, and look clean while doing it. Congratulations to them.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for casting with me tonight on the fly. It was a pleasure. Is there anything else that you wanted to add tonight?
Well, I'll be here for the rest of the Divinity League season, so until I think it's about April 8th, I'll be casting here with you guys every Monday, so excited to be back and excited to see how this series wraps up.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And it was a pleasure, and we will see you all next time. All right.
voices going through my head. These voices telling me what to say.